Tonight, the city of Lagos
There is
waits
still a poor level of
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Federal High
We
Court.
break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News,
welcome to Core
a
TV News.
24-hour news station.
Many thanks to you for joining us on Core Digest this morning, the Thursday edition. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. If you ask an ordinary Nigerian what the crises are in Nigeria at the moment, he or she is fast to mention the Boko Haram insurgency, the Ebola virus disease. But one that is rocking a spotting word is the impending FIFA ban on NFF. And you know, 1st of September was the first deadline, but we're being given grace till September 8th for the Chris Giwa board, or will I say administration, to get over with and return to what it used to be. We remember that August 26th, there was a coming together of the NFF while the NFF president wasn't around. It was supposed to be a meeting for drawing the roadmap to conduct another election, but in the absence of May Gari, there was an election that held, which brought Chris Giwa into place. And ever since that election was conducted, Chris Giwa has been described as a factional president. It means the whole members of NFF have not adopted him as the president. And of course, FIFA is saying that it does not recognize that executive, and so they must vacate office before September 8th, so as for Nigeria not to get suspended. And if we get suspended, that will be a second time in a year. You remember the brief suspension in July that almost saw our ladies not participating in the Under-20 Women's World Cup, but we're happy they went, and we saw how colorful they came out. Well, that might be to me. Some people expected them to come out chaps. But here this morning, we're discussing Nigeria football crisis, toying with FIFA. And the guest analyst this morning is Shola Rogers, a sports analyst. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. The first question I want to ask you is, what is happening to Nigerian football?
Are you sure we have enough time to answer that first question?
Please tell me, because I want to know. There are so many crises rocking NFF presently, so we really want to know, because we could ask so many other questions, but someone like me wants us to get to the root of this problem, because it's not just starting.
No, it's not just starting. This predates 2014. This is something that has been going on for at least 16 years now. Whenever there's an impending election in the Football Federation or Football Association, as the case may be, because it's still contentious, there's a Football Federation that is recognized by FIFA, but by the Nigerian law, we still have the NFA Act, which is what we're supposed to be operating under, but that's a topic for another day. But whenever there's an election in this football house or this football family, there's always crisis. The previous executive also went through the same crisis that rocked this same federation 4 years before them. That was 8 years ago. The same thing happened, and 4 years before that. But it's really sad that now this year's own is really blown up, because we're seeing the involvement of the sports ministry at a higher level than we've seen before. We're seeing wanton disregard for due process, and then we're seeing illegality being recognized by the Sports Commission and the Sports Ministry. So the problem is that if we had a sports ministry that understood that the Minister of Sports is not a Minister of Football, and that the same attention he has shown to football should be shown to every other sport in this country, we will be at a better place. Now, you've endorsed a certain Chris Giwa, who is a stakeholder in the business. In fairness to him, he runs Giwa FC in his own state, and so he has a right to be where he is. But the problem is, Aminu Megeri was duly elected and recognized by Congress, and you must understand that the FIFA statutes and the NFA statutes state that no far-reaching decision like an election can be done without it being ratified by Congress. Now, Congress is made up of all the stakeholders. We're talking about the representative of the players, the representative of the referees, and all other sections of football with state FA chairman and secretaries. Now, so you're supposed to have a certain number of people to form a quorum. So you now ask them to come for what was supposed to be an ordinary Congress, which would have mapped out the roadmap for an election which would have taken place today, September the 4th. But when they got to Abuja, what they found was that there was another agenda. Megeri had been arrested. Musa Amadu was nowhere to be found. That's the Secretary General of the FA. And Chris Green, who was also one of the top members of Megeri's body, were not around. So the FA chairman refused to stay in that Congress and all moved out. They were trying to go to, they heard that they had been picked up by the DSS. So they left. They were trying to go to the DSS. They couldn't go there. So they eventually held their own Congress on the street, on the roadside. While they were having their Congress on the roadside, under the tree, the original venue of the Congress was still peopled by some people who felt that they could go ahead without the main Congress. And the minister sat there in that illegality, and they said they conducted an election. You cannot conduct an election without the electoral committee conducting an election. So you say you've conducted an election, and without the Congress ratifying that election, you are not duly recognized. You still need the General Secretary to forward the results of the election to FIFA, but also they forgot that there was supposed to be a FIFA observer there, someone that FIFA had sent down, either from Switzerland or wherever, but who would be there to oversee this election as an observer. You didn't put all those things in place. Then Egiwa moves into the glass house with policemen and soldiers and all sorts of people, and the next day the Minister of Sport congratulates him. It's really very sad, and you start to wonder if our minister understands the business of managing sports in this country. And it's really very sad when we have people who don't know what sports is managing sports. It's sad, and that's why we're where we are today.
Are you questioning the qualifications of the sports minister?
Not his credentials when it comes to book. Abi, how we they talk qualifications now. Not that his credentials are questionable as a lawyer or whatever he's supposed to be, but as a sports minister, he has not shown that he knows the terrain that he's in. We have a Minister of Health who is supervising the Ebola virus scourge now, you know, in conjunction with the people here in Lagos State, and we know how well that is going. You know why? Because he's a doctor. He understands the business. We have ministers who have been chosen to run different aspects of their ministries who know about what they are doing, or some who would learn on the job. But we have a sports minister who has come to meet a house that was quiet and calm, and it seems to have generated a lot of furore because he doesn't understand the business. So yes, our sports minister is not doing well.
You know, some reports have it that the Megeri-led executive has been accused and alleged to have been corrupt, talking about misappropriation of fund and all of that. The question is, at what point does the government come in the place of the Minister of Sport when there are cases of misconduct? At what point?
I like the way you've brought it up. And do you also know that the previous management team of the FA were also accused of fraud, the same way Megeri is being accused now? And what happened? What came out of it? 4 years, 5 years down the line, nothing. This is like a usual, it's now becoming like an Olympics for us every 4 years, where we accuse the incumbent of being fraudulent. The laws of the land are clear. The laws of Nigeria are clear. But also, if you feel that Megeri has done something wrong, you should go about it the right way. We know it's not really about him being fraudulent or not, but we still expect them to take him up on that. What the problem really is about who will succeed Aminu Megeri. If Megeri is fraudulent, please deal with him. And I need to put it out there constantly that it's not about Megeri for us as sports analysts and journalists. It's not about Chris Kewa. It's about the game. Do you know that football employs over 1 million people in this country? When you talk about from the grassroots to the professional league, and there's a ripple effect and a trickle-down effect when that goes on. So what are we doing to this game? We're killing this game with all this politics and all. So if Megeri is corrupt, please deal with it the proper way. Why did you allow a Chris Gewa, who also had run down a previous club in his state to come and become the person that you want to take over from Megeri, and you say Megeri is corrupt, and you're bringing a Chris Gewa that has questionable character. Let's be very fair to ourselves. We're not tackling the real issues. So we don't want to talk personalities. I don't want to talk about let's talk about our game, the game of football, and the issues and the stain that we're bringing to Nigeria. Because Nigeria is the only country now that has come back from the World Cup, and we're not even ready. We're supposed to be focusing on football. We're playing a game on Saturday. All the focus is on who's taking over the glass house and all of that. And you know, and at the end of the day, we will suffer when two elephants fight. It's the grass that suffers. So I won't know brief for Megeri. I've never met Megeri. I don't know Megeri. I don't know Chris Gewa. What I know is football. This is what we feed on. This is where we earn our livelihood from. I'm talking sports journalists, I'm talking footballers, I'm talking referees. A whole lot of people depend on the industry to function well. The corporate world has started coming back into Nigerian football and Nigerian sports. No corporate body will want to be a part of this charade. So if we're not careful, if we do not nip it in the bud, there's going to be a problem. We're about to get a big deal from the rights owners of the Nigerian Premier League, and I heard it's close to about 5 billion naira. The current owners, you know, are about to expand what they've given us, and they want to make it better. They want to show more games on their platform, you know, the cable station company in this country. And you think they still want to go ahead and put their money in this? I don't think so. Now, the Chris Gewa that came into this so-called NFA, the first thing that they did was to dissolve a company that's been duly registered, the league management company. Now, the league management company came about when we found out, when administrators of the game found out that the league was dying. There was too much crisis here and there. There's Ramson Baribote here. There's Davidson Owumi here. This one can be chairman. That one can be. Why can't we even conduct simple elections in this country? Is it that difficult? It's not. Just go by the book. So the league management committee, which was headed by Nduka Rabo, came about. They tackled all the issues with the Nigerian Professional League. They restructured and re-engineered the league, you know, and they're still working hard towards it. They came about and they started this. So our professional league has improved. Then the league management committee became the league management company, given the rights by the FA to run football. Guess what? One of the rules that they brought was that player welfare is an issue. Our players are not well paid. You pick any random player from any club and ask them these questions. They're not well paid. They sign on fees. 2 years, 3 years after being signed on, they don't get them. They've been owed salaries, 6 month salaries, 9 months, 10 month salaries in some clubs. So they said, you know what, scrap the sign-on fees since you can't pay them. But the minimum pay for any Nigerian footballer is 150,000 naira. Now, don't question that. These guys will train 5 days a week.
Oh, you thought I was going to question it?
Yeah, because some people say, I don't know.
That's too much, right?
150, minimum wage in Nigeria
minimum wage is
18,000 naira. Why is minimum wage for, but guess what?
And of course, you know, some will question you that non-payment of salary is not an uncommon thing.
We know it happens in a lot of places. We know, but let's stay focused there. These guys will train twice a day. Strenuous, very, very hard work. They will go and play football. For instance, pick a team that plays in Warri, that is going to Kaduna. They'll go by bus from Warri. They'll leave Warri, say, on a Wednesday, arrive Kaduna, say, Thursday morning. They'll stay in an hotel Thursday, Friday, play Saturday. That's the ideal situation. But guess what happens to most clubs in Nigeria? If they're playing on Saturday, they leave on Friday. You know why? Because they need to cut down on cost of accommodation. So they leave on Friday, arrive late Friday night or early Saturday morning, then go and play. So these guys need to be well paid. And guess what happened? Out of 20 clubs in the Premier League, 2 are privately owned. One is owned by Chris Gewa, the other by Ramson Baribote, Nembe City, and Gewa FC. And these 2 teams, the only 2 privately owned teams in our league, said they cannot pay 150,000 naira, that they can't pay. So the LMC said, if you can't meet these minimum requirements, you cannot be a part of the league. Is it strange or funny that immediately Gewa gets into the so-called glass house, the first thing he does is to scrap the LMC? Is it strange? Is it strange? Does it make any sense for a league that it's actually getting better. A league that was ranked the best in Africa 2 years ago, and it's just improving. You come and scrap it. You scrap the company that's managing it. A company that's duly registered and recognized by the Corporate Affairs Commission.
Okay, let's get back to FIFA issue, because before we begin to talk about internal crisis and before we can talk about conditions, first, we must not be on the ban. So the ban is the most important at this point. Danagogo actually said FIFA will not ban Nigeria. And you know, we've had many reactions. We'll take a report now by one of a recognized sports journalist in Nigeria, Bassi. He has an opinion on this. Let's take his report and we'll be back in the studio. All right, we'll bring you that report later. Let's take this one by Danagogo. Is it looking like Nigeria will not be banned? Because we know FIFA has given a threat. If we continue this way, is it possible FIFA changes its mind?
No.
Has it ever happened like that?
No, it's not. FIFA is not a one-man business. FIFA has structures in place. They have statutes, they have rules that govern them, and it's a voluntary organization. We went to join FIFA over 50 years ago because we wanted to be a part of FIFA. So if you want to be a part of FIFA, you must follow the FIFA rules and regulations completely. So they're saying to you, if you want to change government, we know that Megeri is about to leave. Allow Megeri conduct a free and fair election. A level playing field should be created. Anybody that wants to be a part of it, as long as you meet the minimum requirements, you should be allowed to contest. That's what FIFA is saying. Now, we refused to do that. We came back, we said we had sacked Megeri. Suddenly, the minister said, no, it was a court ruling that we discussed there the other day. Funny enough, guess where the court ruling came from? Jos. Where's Giwa from? Jos. Who went to court? Mrs. Baribote. Where is she from? Bayelsa. Where is she based? In Bayelsa. So you leave Bayelsa and travel to Jos to get a court injunction. Interesting. So let's get back on track. I just have to put that out there for us to see that this is an orchestrated move. It just didn't happen today. They planned this, and it's not looking good for them. So what FIFA is saying is, if you want to do it the right way. Now, a lot of people have gone to the minister to say we won't be banned. It's not true. We will be banned. And to show you why we will be banned, we were suspended. The Falconets were actually on their way to the airport. They were going to Canada. They were going to camp in Canada for a few weeks before the competition proper. And FIFA told them, don't bother coming anymore. Your federation has been banned, has been suspended. After we reverted to status quo, they allowed us play in that tournament. We saw Courtney DK, Asisato Shola, and all those beautiful Nigerians represent us. They went to the final. They could have won, you know. But we could have failed to see that if we did not revert back to what FIFA asked us to do. You know, guess what? As soon as we came back from the World Cup, we went again and did some funny thing, some magic, some hocus pocus. Then the next thing is Megeri is out again. And FIFA says, they sent a letter, a warning letter. The sad part for me is when I hear sports analysts, journalists, and stakeholders say that it was a fake letter. How can someone bring a letter from FIFA and say it's fake? Go to the FIFA website. They said it was doctored and everything. Okay, fine. Now, the follow-up that came, which is what I'm looking at in front of me here, you know, came yesterday, signed by the same Jerome Valke, you know, and it's saying to us in clear terms that by 8 a.m. Swiss time on Monday, the 8th of September, if you do not leave, these people who claim to be the new FA board, do not leave the premises of the FA, we will invoke Article 14, Paragraph 3 of the FIFA statutes. And that's why I had to go download the PDF file, and I looked at it. And in there, they're saying that once they invoke that clause and we're finally banned, we can't play friendly games with any other country. No club in Nigeria can play on the continent anywhere. We would now be playing football in isolation. The essence of competition is for you to be able to gauge your level with other countries. So a Congo that is in Nigeria or should be in Nigeria for Saturday's game will not come. And we're defending champions of the Nations Cup. We won't be able to defend our trophy. when we fail to defend our trophy, there's a CAF rule somewhere. If you pull out for whatever reasons or you are not able to fulfill, then there's an additional 2-year ban. You get, so you've already missed one tournament, which comes every 2 years. Then you're banned for another 2 years. Then guess what happens? That means 4 years. So we're saying that for 4 years, Nigeria will not play Nations Cup. Within that time, the World Cup qualifiers would have started. Russia 2018 would have started. We would miss out. We won't qualify for that one. That's focusing only on the Super Eagles. There's under 17. There's under 20. There is the Olympics team that should be getting ready for the Rio Olympics tournament, the football event of it. There's a female version of it. We're talking about the Flamingos, the Falconets, and the Super Falcons, who are the most successful team in Nigerian football. The women's side, they've done better than the men. Now, a whole generation of footballers will be deprived. If these administrators who are fighting really care about Nigerian sports, would they not take a look at what's about to fall on us and put their house in order and go by the right way? Why is Chris Giwa afraid of an election? He should go to the proper place, to the Congress, pick up a form, a nomination form, fill it, return it, and contest against whoever is coming.
Some of the opinion that FIFA probably could have vested interest in the Megari executive. Is that possible?
No, I don't think so. I think it's beyond Megari. Like we've been trying to make fellow Nigerians understand that it's beyond Megari. It's about due process. It's about doing the right thing. It would be strange for me to ask you to get up from your chair there as the host of this show and come and become a guest while we're on air. It's not possible. You were employed to be here. You're the one that this organization knows and recognizes. So if I try to tell you that, no, because I think I can do a better job than you, I should be sitting there, then somehow I force my way onto your chair, you guys will shut me down. That's no vested interest. Your MCR guys will shut me down. They're like, who is this guy? That's what's going on. That's what FIFA is doing. Who is Chris Giwa? We don't know him. We don't know him. Are you saying that it's right for someone to just wake up one day and say that he's chairman of FA without going through due process? There are laid down rules and regulations. Let us go through those laid down rules and regulations. As it is in NFA, so it is in the outside world. You cannot wake up one day and say you're the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You must have gone through a process. You must have gone through your congress in your party. You must have gone through the primaries. Then you contest against other people who are willing to jostle for the seat with you. You win, and you are sworn in. You are sworn in by the Chief Justice and everything. Without all of those things, nobody can come and say he's the president of Nigeria.
Okay.
Chris Giwa cannot say he's the president of the NFA.
Yeah, we're going to round off very soon. But, you know, we can't go on this interview without talking about the fire saga that engulfed the NFF building. Could that be an accident? Is it an act of God? Because there are opinions in some quarters that it could just be related to the crisis rocking the NFF. What's your opinion on this?
I think it's related to the crisis engulfing the NFF. But who set off that fire for whatever purpose is what we don't know. And
Especially starting from the accounts department?
The accounts department. Next door to the accounts department is the office of the general secretary. That's one of the people who are embroiled in all this brouhaha. So I think there's something wrong somewhere. And ideally, there should be a forensic investigation. It was sad to hear one of the firefighters quickly come out to say that it was an accident and whatever. Yes, it could be. It could be caused by some funny faulty wires and that. But why don't you allow the police to move in and investigate in detail to find out the cause? Then again, isn't it strange? There are no CCTV cameras in place to actually find out what went on, who went into which office at what point in time. But I feel that that fire is not an ordinary fire. But whoever is behind it is what we don't know.
Okay, finally, this question might sound silly. If we get banned by September 8th, we would be playing in isolation.
Yeah.
That has many implications on international football. But somehow, do you think this might just help local clubs in Nigeria? Because every time we look forward to international matches, and like you said, even if we're going for matches, local matches, it's either they arrive that day or a day before just to cut costs. But playing in isolation, could that help local football in Nigeria?
I'm not sure it would. I'm not sure it would help local football. I have my fears about that. Local football also needs that external exposure and all of that, which is what we're aiming for. I'm involved with running a local team in Lagos, Stationary Stores FC, and so I'm directly involved in what goes on day to day. We need to be able to go out also. We're working on how to bring foreign teams to Nigeria to play plenty games so that our guys can also learn from them and so that they can impact knowledge in our players, and we also can actually make football a business that is supposed to be. So in that aspect, I'm not sure it will help local football. But in the other aspect, the best thing that could happen if we get banned is that people who have the interest of the game at heart would really, really get involved with the process of rebuilding and restructuring the football to allow people who have invested their money and their funds, who see the future, to come in so that we can really sit down with government and say, you know what, hands off the running of football. Let us run football. Let people who know how to run football come and run football and sports in general.
All right, finally, Shola Rogers, you tell us what's your advice for football lovers and other sports, not just football now, because I know you've mixed up, you've mingled well with the grassroots players and all of that. What's your word of advice to that person who loves football in Nigeria, but given the situation, might just be discouraged?
Well, I'm going to ask them to not be discouraged, that after the rain, comes sunshine, and continue to believe in the green, white, green, which is what we do, but also get involved. Get involved. Don't be quiet. Social media has made life easy for all of us. We started a campaign called Save Our Game 2 days ago. Hashtag Save Our Game. Get involved. Come out, ask questions, talk to your local government chairman, your House of Rep member. Let them know that you really do not want football and sports in Nigeria to go down. It was really nice to see athletes do well at the Commonwealth Games away from football. It was really nice. We want to see that in Rio in 2016. So don't give up. Get involved. Just get involved. Don't think that you are a stakeholder. Don't leave it to the so-called stakeholders, because without the fans, football is nothing. Without the fans, sports is nothing. They need you. They need you in the stadiums. So you should also let your voice be heard.
I would have done so bad if I didn't mention Stephen Keshi. We heard Stephen Keshi in an interview saying that you cannot offer the same contract and expect me to continue. But for you, as a sports analyst, do you feel the contract is that bad for Keshi not to pick it up?
I think that Keshi should negotiate for what he thinks is due. If they're not going to pay him his due, he should take a walk. It's not compulsory for Keshi to coach Nigeria. He's been given a chance. Yes, there's so many coaches out there who can also do a good job. So if Keshi feels that they're not paying him well, then he should take a walk. It's good to be committed, and I know he's gone through a lot. At some point, they were owing him salaries and all of that, and then everything got cleared and all of that. But if Keshi feels that, look, I deserve more, and the FA can't afford to pay him more, what are they going to do? It's got to go. If it's got to go, then it's got to go.
So who are we thinking would be a better coach in replacement of Keshi?
There's a whole lot of Nigerians out there who have qualifications, who would do a good job. There are a couple of them. Off the cuff, I can think of Sunday Olise, who has a UEFA B license, which is one of the highest grades when it comes to certification in Europe and the world. There's Samson Siasa. You could bring him back. There's no problem with that. His assistants are there, although I'm not sure if Daniel will want to take on the job yet fully, but there are a lot of coaches out there, a lot. Nigerian, because I don't want them to bring any foreign coach, and that will just set us back another 6-8 years. So there are a couple of Nigerians out there who have the credentials. They might not have enough experience, but also, of course, Keshi also got the experience on the job. So if he's got to go, let him go.
Oh, all right. Thank you so very much, Shola Rogers, for answering our call this morning. And I hope next time you just oblige us again. Okay, we've been talking about Nigeria football crisis toying with FIFA ban. Today is just the 4th of September. We're talking about 4 days more, and we could just be banned by FIFA if the statutes are not played by, if the rules are not followed, if we're not doing things as FIFA requires them to be done. And you've heard the implication of that. It could just be like 16 years of blank space for Nigerian football. And I know that an ordinary Nigerian would not want that, because guess what? Football seems to be the only thing that brings us together, even in the midst of all this crisis, Ebola. Even at this, as this Ebola spread is going, when you mention football, people still gather together. They forget about protecting themselves, and they just want to watch the match. So it will be a bad thing for Nigeria to be banned. So we're hoping that this ban would not come. And that will be it on this aspect. The first half of Core Digest this morning. We'll beg you to stay tuned, because we're bringing a more exciting topic. Thank you very much for being there.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.